It's time for the Parent Memoirs.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get it started. So,
Okay.
welcome to another episode of the Parent Memoirs. I'm Laura Mack.
I'm Jessica James.
Okay, so we had a recording session last week or the week before. Can't really remember.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks,
2 weeks
yeah.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry it's been a minute for an episode, but I ended up not being able to put it out because I got a new laptop and Jessica was working on a different laptop, and we don't think the settings were set up right. So it recorded with the microphone internal to the laptop and not the actual mic, and we both sound like a million miles away.
Yeah.
So I tried all weekend long or all week long. I was like, I can't figure out how to fix this. This is no, not gonna happen. I did have to tell you, TJ this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, this child. Sometimes he has like all of his emotions are big.
Yeah.
Like it's never small. And in some ways, he is the most like go with the flow kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're like he was super excited. My in-laws were going to take him to Georgia to see some of his cousins. But my mother-in-law waited too long. The prices shot up. They were like $5,000
What? To go to
fly
Georgia?
to Georgia. Like
That's insane.
that better be the country of Georgia. Okay?
Maybe it was.
Like for real. That's ridiculous. So they didn't go, but TJ had been all excited for like 2 weeks leading up to it. Like, I'm going to Georgia. I'm going to Georgia. I'm going to Georgia. And then we were like, well, the Georgia trip is going to have to wait. And we told him, and I really expected him to just be like super bummed. And he was like, oh, that's okay.
Oh, that's
Like,
good.
And there's so many situations like that where we like change plans or want to go somewhere or whatever. Or he's just like, I want to do so and such and such. And I'm like, no, you can't. And he's just like, okay, no big deal. Like, super laid back, goes with the flow. But man, when he hits up against a wall of you can't do something that he wants to do, oh my God, the world is freaking over. So this morning, we got him this tablet a while back. And it's a Lenovo. It's not an iPad, but it does the job. Whatever. Yeah. And it was like $100. Whatever. All he does is like watch YouTube Kids and play Minecraft on it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, it will automatically like just restart. There's like a bug or a glitch or something. Like he'll be watching a video and all of a sudden the whole thing will shut down. Well, that happened this morning. Holy fuck. You would have thought I just kicked Pete. Like he was and I was like, why are you so upset? It's just restarting and you can pick up the video right where you left off.
Right.
You're signed in on your account, so it'll save your history. Like, it's fine. And he starts just scream crying that this stupid iPad, which he just calls it an iPad, but this stupid iPad makes him put in the pin twice. Twice,
Oh, no.
Mommy. It makes me put in the pin twice. I don't want to put the pin in twice. You just should be able to put the pin. You should call the Lenovo people and tell them to just do one. Why do I have to do it? I'm like, honey, it's 4 buttons.
Right.
Calm down. Just absolute meltdown.
Yeah.
And I don't get what the difference is sometimes with these things that he's just, you think he's going to be upset,
Yeah.
but he's not. He's just like, okay, whatever. But then crap like that happens and you're like, what? Where did this demon spawn come from?
Right?
But TJ, oh my God, TJ, they are, speaking of Georgia, they are going to Georgia
Yeah.
Tuesday for 2 weeks.
Nice. You're like, oh.
Just a little break. Just need a little break. Love my kid. Just need a little. I used to call these mommy vacations. Like when I got to like travel for work, I was like,
Yes.
this is a mommy vacation.
Yes. So speaking of that, I have something to share with you.
Okay.
So Mike had been home for like 6 weeks because we just had so much crap going on, and it was the way it was getting spaced out throughout the months for June and July. Like there was just no way that he was going to be able to get back to work and then be home in time for whatever it was that he was needing to do.
Right.
And so we took the kids down to Canyon City. And we took them whitewater rafting, and we took them on the train.
Oh, I saw those pictures. Yeah.
So we did all of that, and it was a lot of fun. But Amelia and Liam were just like, they were balls to the walls, crazy, chaotic, all over the place, constantly getting into shit, talking back, arguing, whining, fussing, crying. Guys. You name it, it was happening. And Mike had a really hard time with it. Like, we were standing in line to go on the little gondola over the Royal Gorge. Mm-hmm. And Mike was just standing there like, I don't understand why this is so difficult for me. Like, why am I having such a hard time dealing with our kids? And I looked at him and I told him, I was like, you've never been home this long with all 4 kids before.
Right.
I was like, this is a
Welcome
first.
to my world, Mike.
And he just looked at me like, huh. Like, yeah, you're right.
You feel like, you know what was behind that, huh? What he was really saying was, oh, this is what you do all day.
Well, and he even asked me, he was like, how do you do it? And I was like, well, first off, I don't got a choice. I sit in my closet and cry sometimes. I didn't say that, but it happens. And I was like, I'm around it enough to where I've been able to learn to cope with it. Yeah, I'm desensitized. I've learned the battles you choose, the ones that aren't worthwhile, I've learned to ignore them. And I know that it is what it is.
All right. So since our last episode was scrapped,
yes,
we're going to go through these emails again.
Okay.
From our listeners, because I don't want them to think that we ignored them.
Right.
Because that's not nice.
No, we just ignore our kids.
Yeah. There you go. If you haven't figured it out, this is a parenting podcast where we basically talk about how we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
And we don't give out advice.
No.
We just vent about being moms.
Yeah.
Just as a heads up.
Absolutely.
If you came here for advice, keep it moving, sister, because we don't got none.
No.
Okay, so this one, whoa. This is from Benny. And honestly, Benny, this teacher, Jessica's laughing because she remembers this story. This teacher, I am stunned that she still has use of her legs.
Yes. Because
if I were you, I would not have taken what she said well. We'll just say well.
Yeah.
Not taking it well. All right. So he says, I'm a single father with an 8-year-old son. My wife was killed in a car accident when my son was 3. So sorry for your loss, Benny. That's awful.
Yes.
My son's 2nd grade teacher is the kind of teacher we all pray that our children can avoid. She takes great joy in yelling at children for such heinous crimes as, quote, writing with your left hand, which my son deals with every day because this is the 21st century and I refuse to force my son to be uncomfortable when he's writing. Yeah, if they're left-handed, they're left-handed.
Right.
Like, not a big deal.
Nope.
She also flips out about, quote, girls playing with boys' toys and vice versa. Or, quote, having a nickname that's different from the name on the class roster, such as going by Katie when the class roster says Catherine. So obviously TJ would be a problem.
Right.
For this woman.
Yeah.
Not only does she regularly yell at children for these oh so dangerous acts, but she calls their parents afterwards to ask what they will do to, quote, fix their child. And she often belittles their parenting skills. Several parents, including myself, have petitioned the school board to have her removed, but the school board keeps giving her, quote, one last chance to improve. The school principal has also voiced his belief that this teacher should not be in class, but he can't fire teachers without the school board's approval. So he's in the same boat we are, which kind of sucks. Like, the person in charge that you would go to is like, no, I 1,000% agree with you. Yeah. This is wrong. But even that person with the authority doesn't really have the authority.
Yeah.
That's got to be frustrating. The final straw is when the teacher calls me with this gem. I say, hello, Mrs. So-and-so. How can I help you? And she says, hello, Mr. Benny. Blah, blah, blah. Is your wife available? I said, nope. She's still in the grave. As I've told you many, many times now. If this is about my son, what is it? And the teacher says, your son was fighting with another student today. I said, my son, today. She says, yes, I have informed the principal of the fight, and your son will be given recess detention for 1 week as punishment. So there, nanny, nanny, boo-boo. Like, she sounds that mature.
Yeah.
Fuck off, bitch.
Right? This woman is horrible.
Yeah. I say to her, ma'am, I guarantee you that my son was not fighting anyone at school today. She cut me off. He certainly was. Now please speak with him tonight about his behavior, because this is clearly unacceptable. Here's the part where this woman would not have use of her legs if she said this to me.
Yeah.
You know, you should really find a wife. Your son clearly needs a mother figure.
Man.
First of all, talk about like not your fucking place.
Right.
Okay? That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, why in the world would you call me and insult me by saying I want to speak to your wife
Right.
when you know she's dead?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just a special level of cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. This trick's got to go. I say goodbye, and I hang up before she can say another word. And the next morning, I head to the school to speak with the principal. The principal calls the teacher down to his office as well. And the principal says, ma'am, I understand that you called Benny last night about his son's fight. Very properly and proudly, with her nose up in the air, said, yes, I did. You have my report on the fight. And the principal says, well, then we have a few problems. First of all, are you aware that his son was not in school yesterday? According to the school secretary notes, Benny called in yesterday morning because his son was sick and would be staying home. The teacher gets all flustered and says, that's impossible. I very clearly remember yelling at his son for fighting. And the principal looks at me and says, Benny, can you verify that your son was at home yesterday? And I say, well, I can go get the t-shirt he puked on while we were cuddling, if that works. The principal chuckled. Understood and unnecessary. Please accept my apology for this behavior. I'll let you get home and take care of your son. I hope he feels better soon. Ma'am, can you stay behind for a few minutes, please? I said my goodbyes and headed home feeling accomplished. You should, because clearly this woman was a beast to take down.
Right.
And she needed to be taken down.
Absolutely.
A few hours later, I got an email from the school to the parents of all the students in that teacher's class. The teacher was finally fired. I later heard from other parents, while there had been a fight, the teacher had knowingly falsified her report by including my son's name, despite her own attendance records showing that she knew he was absent that day. This prompted the school board to investigate other reports she had filed, and enough reports were found to contain false information that she was finally fired. Good. As of my writing of this story, my son is fully recovered and returned to school, and his class is being taught by the school principal until they can find a long-term substitute.
Yes.
Good for you, Benny.
Right?
Like, stick up for your kids, man. Especially when people are just out to get them. Like, and it's blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
That that's what they're doing. Like, that's how we felt about TJ's second grade teacher.
Right.
Like,
it's completely unnecessary.
Or no, his first grade teacher. She was
like
a nightmare. That woman. Whew, we've talked about her. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad your son is better, Benny. And don't let anybody tell you that you have to get married for your son's sake of needing a female. Like, there are other ways to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just not your fucking place.
Nope.
All right. Fuck off. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is from Harold from the Netherlands.
Okay.
And Harold says, I work for a housing company. A client calls me. I give my opening spiel and say, how can I help you? She says, oh, I'm calling you about my son. He's 25 years old. Congrats. Do you want a cookie? What? Thanks for letting me know. You kept him alive for 25 years. Good job. I say, okay. And what's the question? And the caller says, oh, I have no question. I just want you guys to send him a letter and tell him it's time that he moved out. I say, excuse me? She says, he's 25 years old. He's old enough to get his own place, and I'm tired of him hanging around here. I told him to move out over and over again, but he won't listen to me. So I want you guys to evict him. Okay. It's just one of those things where you're like, okay, nut up.
Right. I'm sorry. It's just so ridiculous.
It is. It's a ridiculous request.
Yes.
And the fact that she was dead serious, clearly.
Right? Yeah.
You're like, how do you function on a daily basis being that challenged? Like, how do you manage to leave the house and somehow make it back into the home before dark?
Right?
I say, well, I'm looking at your contract and it seems like you're the only one listed here. And the caller says, yes, that's right. I said, well, I'm sorry to say it, but that means we have no legal connection to your son, only to you. We can't evict him for you. What? But he's 25 and I don't want him living here anymore. Okay, and you're probably 50 and you sound like a whiny toddler. Like even through a typed message, you can hear your whininess.
Yeah.
Okay. And I say, I understand, but he's your son. If you want him out of there, you can either convince him yourself or ask a judge to give him a restraining order so he can't enter your house anymore.
Right.
And she says, what? You want me to sue my own son? You want a random stranger to kick him out of his house, but that's a bridge too far.
Right.
Okay. And I say, it's the only legal way to get someone out of your home, ma'am. Your contract states you started living here over 30 years ago. And the contract states that your children may live in the house without separate permission from the housing company. The contract also states that you are responsible for your children if they live there. And she goes, but his music is so, She frustratedly screams. The neighbors are starting to complain.
So tell him to turn the shit off.
I say, he's your son, ma'am. I'm sorry, but he's your responsibility. Ugh, thanks for nothing. Hangs up. Just an FYI, the neighbors are starting to complain to us. We can only punish the mother because she is responsible. So if nothing changes and the mother takes no action, it could result in her herself getting evicted with her son. Let's hope both mother and son grow up.
Yep.
Might be a good idea.
Just a wee bit.
Like, come on.
That's ridiculous.
Did you ever see that? There's another comedy special on Netflix. It's the first Catherine Ryan special called Catherine Ryan, I think, In Trouble is what it's called.
Okay.
It's really funny, but she talks about how, she's a single mom and her daughter is, doted on and spoiled and everything. And she keeps getting more pets. Like they keep buying more tiny dogs and a bunch of bunnies.
Okay.
Right. Well, one day there was a bit of a kerfuffle and one of their dogs attacked one of the bunnies, and it was obviously dead.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But this little girl, she was like 5 or 6. She was like, and the bunny's name is Anthony, and she's British. Catherine Ryan's not British, but she had a baby in the UK, and that's where she lives. So her baby's British.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, Anthony, can we take him to the veterinarian? And she's like, I don't have the heart to tell this kid that bunny is dead.
Right.
She's like, so we get on a bus, and I'm holding this rabbit in my lap, which I am getting surer and surer that it is a dead rabbit. And of course, people are walking up wanting to pet the bunny.
You're like, nope.
Like, no. And she's like, so I decide to try to call the vet's office, and hopefully they pick up on what's happening here. She calls the vet's office, and it's like, hi, I'm en route to the vet's office with my 5-year-old daughter, and our bunny has had an accident. And she's trying to warn them.
Right.
Like, my daughter doesn't know, and she's going to be traumatized.
Yeah.
Right. The lady doesn't get the hint at all. She's like, what's the date of birth of the bunny? She's like, I can tell you what day it died.
Nice.
But then they actually get to the vet's office, and the vet takes one look at it, and she's like, and she looks at me like, you piece of shit excuse for a mother. You didn't have, she didn't say this, but she was giving her this look like, you didn't have the nerve to tell your child that this is a dead pet. She's like, and I gave her a look that communicated That's exactly right. You do it. And she's like, and for 75 pounds, they will. So she had to pay $75 basically to have the vet tell her daughter that the bunny was dead. Sounds like this mom right here. Like, I'm not
Right?
willing to tell you
Yeah.
what you really need to hear.
Right. So shut the fuck up. Go away.
Exactly.
Deal with your own motherfucking shit.
Exactly. This just made my life. This was a happy parenting story.
Good.
This is from Jay,
Okay.
from New York. And Jay says, I am gay and my family is very supportive. I'm visiting from college during Thanksgiving break and I invite my boyfriend to come along. We get a warm welcome and dinner goes smoothly. On Friday, traditionally, my mother makes a lot of candy, and we ship them off to friends and relatives. My boyfriend and I are helping box everything up. This year, she's decided to make about 6 different kinds of fudge. As my boyfriend and I are cutting, wrapping, and boxing up the candy, my mom sticks her head in the den and says, "How are my little fudge packers doing?"
No! No way! Oh man, that's epic. That's totally something I would do.
Oh my God. My boyfriend and I burst into laughter, and it took us 15 minutes before we were able to stop giggling long enough to explain to her what fudge packer means. My then boyfriend is now my husband. I love my family.
Aw. That's very
Jay,
sweet.
that is a great story. That makes
Right?
me so happy. I love stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, when you're just like, look, you're normal humans and you're good people, and like,
Right?
you
I
gotta
love that.
that. I love
How are my
stuff
little
like that.
fudge packers?
I really thought, because I saw the second he said, this year she's decided to make about six different kinds of fudge, I knew what was about to happen. And I really thought
fantastic.
you were going to catch on to it. To like, oh shit, I thought you were going to burst.
No, I was just thinking about fudge.
You're like, food?
Food?
Squirrel?
Fudge? Where?
Squirrel?
I love fudge.
What's so funny to me about that is something my mother
Yeah.
would absolutely do.
Oh, I could see that for sure.
And not have a clue. Not a
Mm-hmm.
clue as to what it means.
Yep. That would be amazing. I hope if that ever happens, I could witness it. I want to be there.
So funny. And I love it because my mom is super supportive. Like all of our friends, my mother loves people with tattoos and piercings and stuff. She loves that.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really know it to look at my mom.
Yeah.
But she's so just like, I just think they're such creative little individuals.
I love it.
Like, she's just so funny. But I had some friends over one time. I was working at the semiconductor plant, and I had a couple of friends come over. I was staying with my parents at the time, and we were just all sitting around having lunch, and one of my girlfriends was talking about there was a shooting at the Jazz, the club.
Oh, okay.
That's, yeah, in like South Colorado Springs. And she was talking about what had happened that night because she was there.
Yeah.
And she talked about how like somebody wouldn't let her out of a door or something when everybody was trying to like run. They were like, no, we can't open this door. And my friend, her name was, I'll just call her Jay as well. She was like, oh my God, I was so mad. I swear I could have just, and she kind of paused. And my mom, who was like making something in the kitchen, just pipes up out of nowhere and goes, bust a cap in their ass?
I love it.
We all kind of turned and looked at my mom like, what the? Where did you come from?
That's fantastic.
My mom will say.
That's
You're just
awesome.
like-
I love it so much.
I do too. She makes me laugh so
Yeah.
hard.
I
Just,
love it.
my mom is Betty White. Like, you remember in Betty White in Lake Placid?
Never saw it.
You never saw Lake Placid? Oh my God. Betty White is freaking brilliant. That was the
Okay.
movie that really kind of revitalized her career
Yeah.
because whoever it was, I think it was David E. Kelly, because she was involved with a bunch of TV projects he did.
Okay.
But he kind of figured out that if you had the filthiest comments coming out of the sweetest mouth on earth, it was going to be comedy gold.
Gotcha.
And it was. The whole movie is just Betty White. It's like at one
Yeah.
point she confronts a cop and he's like telling her what to do. And she's like, okay, officer, fuck meat. And hearing
That's
Betty White say
awesome.
those things is just
Right?
priceless.
That's phenomenal. Yeah.
It really is. It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's the kind of mom I want to be when my kids are older.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's that mom that you know, like, that you can just kind of share stuff with and they're not going to be, like, all freaked out.
Right.
All right. This is the last one.
You're already laughing. That's a good sign.
I am. This is from Melanie.
Okay.
And Melanie says, when she was younger, my little sister was, to put it mildly, a brat.
Okay.
She had to have the best clothes and the best things in life, and she was always chatting with her friends on her phone. One morning, my mom got a text message from my sister, who was in her bedroom 3 rows away.
Okay.
Asked her to make her some breakfast. You can't even bother to get up and ask.
Right?
You're
Yeah.
going to text me your order. Okay. My mother took a deep breath. My mother texted her back and said, okay, what do you want? My sister responded that she wanted an egg and bacon, with a muffin. My mother's own version of McMuffins were a Sunday special in our house. So my mother complied. She got a plate, placed an unopened egg, a cold piece of bacon, and sandwiched it in a muffin, and walked it into my sister's room and placed it in front of her.
Nice.
And my sister said, you didn't cook it. My mother
Ask
says,
for it.
you didn't specify. As she left the room, my sister never asked my mother to make her breakfast through text ever again.
That's awesome.
Good job, Mom. No, you don't get to
Absolutely.
order me around. Okay, I'm not Grubhub. You can't
Right.
text me an order to deliver
Yeah.
to your bedroom. Okay.
Right? Ass. Man,
No.
people.
All right. So keep those stories coming to theparentmemoirs@yahoo.com. So make sure to like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. So until next time, I'm Lara Mack.
I'm Jessica James.
Love your faces.
Keep it sane.
Hey, Parent Peeps. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or on your favorite podcasting platform. Stay strong, mommies and daddies. Love your faces.